Chapter 43, Repetition. Sunny was already on his feet, sword in hand, before he was even fully awake. Somehow, the azure blade was gripped tightly, and his shadow loomed beside him, poised either to wrap around the sword for offense or envelop his body if he was already too late to defend. He tried to make sense of the situation. Nephi stood nearby, her long sword raised, ready to strike. But where was Cassie? His heart jumped. Where is Cassie? Panic clenched his chest as he scanned the dim surroundings, half expecting monstrous tentacles to lurch from the darkness. But aside from the faint, early light touching the eastern horizon with gray, there was no immediate threat. Then he saw her. Cassie was at the edge of the platform, her face pale with terror. Her golden hair was in disarray, and she was reaching out, clearly disoriented. There were no walls to stop her, just the open air and, below, the dark, churning sea. Before he even realized it, Sunny was sprinting toward her. It was reckless. He didn't know what had caused Cassie's fear or if danger still lurked. Nephi, in the poor lighting, might have mistaken him for a threat and lashed out with her blade. But none of that mattered in the moment. He moved on instinct. Just in time, he grabbed Cassie and pulled her back from the brink. "I've got her," he shouted, alerting Nephi so she wouldn't strike. Then, in a calmer tone meant only for Cassie, he whispered, "It's all right. I've got you. You're safe now. Just breathe." Cassie trembled in his arms. He looked around once more, trying to spot the cause of her terror, but the platform remained eerily quiet. Nephi listened intently to the sea and finally asked, "Do you see anything?" Sunny shook his head helplessly. "Nothing." He helped Cassie sit in the middle of the platform while Nephi stood guard. Carefully, he checked her for injuries. Nothing was visibly wrong. "She's not hurt," he reported. Nephi glanced down. Though her expression didn't change, Sunny sensed her unease. After a moment, she asked in her usual calm, almost robotic tone, though perhaps with a hint of concern, "Cassie, what happened?" Remarkably, the tone seemed to reach the girl. She stopped shaking as violently and, in a trembling voice, said, "To the head. I saw, oh gods." Sunny furrowed his brow and looked to Nephi. Was it a vision? Something from the past? Nephi was silent for a few seconds. "I don't know. That's never happened before." They both looked at Cassie, unsure what to do next. Since there was no visible threat, they took turns comforting her, trying to coax out more of what she saw. But after that one sentence, Cassie withdrew and wouldn't speak again, no matter how gently they tried. Eventually, Nephi sighed. Let her rest. She might just need time. Sunny wanted to argue, but realized he had no better ideas. He nodded. "All right, I'll stay with her." But Changing Star had a different plan. With the dawn breaking and the sea beginning to calm, Nephi led Sunny to the far end of the platform, though she kept Cassie within her line of sight at all times. Cassie sat curled up, knees hugged tightly to her chest. Her eyes were shut, but the slight trembling of her body revealed that she was still awake. Sunny frowned. "Are you sure it's okay to leave her alone right now?" Nephi looked at him, her gaze unreadable. "Yes." Then, after thinking a moment, she added, "Cassie is strong." That surprised Sunny. Coming from Nephi, who didn't throw words around lightly, it meant something. Still, strong wasn't the first word he would use to describe the delicate, blind girl. She always seemed to need their help, but maybe there were different kinds of strength. Despite her flaw, Cassie had survived and retained her sanity, something not everyone could claim. "If you say so." Then Nephi asked him to summon the azure blade. Once he did, she studied the sword for a bit, then summoned her own weapon. It was longer and more graceful than his, a double-edged blade with a lethal sharpness. It gleamed like silver in the pale morning light. The crossguard and pommel matched, and the hilt was tightly wrapped in dark leather. Placing both swords side by side, Nephi explained, "Your blade is light enough for one-handed use, but its full potential is realized when used with both. Its main design is for cutting with a high center of mass, though it can also thrust." She gestured to her weapon, Mine is more balanced, good for both slashing and thrusting. But the method of using both weapons is essentially the same. She took her sword with both hands, one near the guard, the other near the pommel, and slashed downward. These are leverage-based weapons. When used properly, one hand pushes, she demonstrated, and the other pulls. Her lower hand pulled upward while the other pushed down, adding incredible speed to the motion. This is how you generate real force. Now you try. Sunny copied her stance and gripped his weapon with both hands. He raised it, then brought it down, trying to apply the push and pull technique she had shown. Nephi studied his movements. You need to remember, the strength of a strike doesn't come from your hands alone. It starts at the feet, flows through your hips, core, shoulders, and only then reaches your arms. Watch. She performed the slash again. This time, Sunny observed her entire posture and how her body moved in harmony with the strike, rather than just focusing on the sword. He understood the principle quickly. Fighting wasn't new to him. He already knew how to throw a punch properly. The mechanics of a sword strike weren't that different. He repeated the downward slash a few more times, getting feedback and corrections from Nephi's. Eventually, she gave a small nod of approval. Good. Sunny grinned. Progress felt great. Then, Nephi added, now do it 1,000 more times. His smile froze. 1,000. He blinked. I'm sorry. How many? She tilted her head slightly, thinking, well, we're short on time today. So yes, just 1,000. Just 1,000? Really? Sunny forced a polite smile. Got it. Nephi returned to Cassie's side, leaving Sunny to his task. He turned toward the sea, raised his sword, and began. 1. The azure blade sliced the air. He raised it again. 2. Push, pull, generate momentum. 3. Use your whole body. 4. Again and again. And soon everything else faded. There was only one rhythm left in his mind. Repetition, experience, focus, repetition. By the time he finished the 1,000th strike, Cassie was finally ready to speak again.